Even though Season 4 has not yet aired, all eyes are already on Season 5. There is a rumor that Eloise may finally be given the spotlight. The problem, though, is that the show probably won't be able to use the plot from her book to Sir Philip, with love. The love stories of each sibling in the Netflix series have always been loosely based on the books by Julia Quinn. However, as we have seen in the first 3 seasons, the show frequently makes significant changes while still remaining faithful to the core of each sibling's journey. However, those adjustments might need to go further for Eloise. Although Netflix has not yet officially renewed Bridgerton for Season 5, it seems almost certain given the show's phenomenal success. Additionally, Quinn's works provide a wealth of inspiration for future adaptations. Even though she hasn't been a main character yet, Eloise's sharp wit, rebellious personality, and fierce independence have made her one of the show's most beloved characters, which is why fans are especially excited for her season. It would be a mistake to adapt her romance from the book for this very reason. Her version in the Netflix series just doesn't match her character into Sir Philip, with love. Eloise is already 28 in Quinn's 5th novel, and she is struggling with loneliness and being labeled a spinster. Eloise sends a letter of condolence to Marina's widower, Sir Philip Crane, following her cousin Marina's passing. Eloise eventually weds Philip and helps raise his 2 children, and their correspondence develops into something more substantial. It's a story with darker undertones than Bridgerton typically does. The issue is that Eloise on Netflix appears to be a completely different person. Eloise is vocal, obstinate, and openly critical of the stifling social structures that define women's lives on the show. She is also passionate in the books, but not nearly as passionate or rebellious. Additionally, she is more cynical and receptive to compromise. As a result, Claudia Jesse's Eloise's ending does not seem all that believable because she does not appear willing to care for Philip's neglected children or settle into a marriage that feels more like resignation than love. In addition, Philip is probably the Bridgerton novel's worst spouse. He hasn't been shown much yet in the series, but in the books, he comes across as harsh, uncaring, and occasionally cruel. He treated Eloise poorly, and he wasn't particularly kind to Marina. Based on what we know about Eloise from the show, she would never tolerate that because it wouldn't fit. Benedict and his relationship with Sophie Beck, a lower-class woman, will be the focus of Season 4. Their love story is inspired by the rags-to-riches trope and has elements of a fairy tale. Eloise's storyline could be interestingly similar to Benedict's if Theo returns in Season 5, 2 siblings falling in love outside of high society strictures. That analogy could give the show's themes more depth by highlighting how men and women are judged differently for the same choices. The fact that Eloise and Benedict have always had the closest bond among siblings also helps. It would make a lot of sense if their stories took place side by side and both of them broke the rules in their relationships. It would also guarantee that Sophie and Theo will continue to be a part of the show long after their main seasons are over. Bridgerton hasn't always been able to do that. When a sibling's love story comes to an end, the couple often fades into the background. Another point worth mentioning is how the show has consistently improved on the book versions of its male characters. Some of the Bridgerton brothers in Julia Quinn's novels exhibit pretty toxic behavior. On their wedding night, Anthony, for instance, almost killed Kate, and Colin has violent tendencies toward Penelope. Those troubling traits were completely cut from the Netflix adaptation, and thankfully so. The plot of Benedict's book needs to develop in the same manner. Benedict asks Sophie to be his mistress in an offer from a gentleman. When she says no, he pressures and harasses her multiple times. That would, of course, not work on the show. Bridgerton, on the other hand, has the ability to reframe their interactions in such a way that Benedict honors Sophie's choices and still allows her to choose between working for Violet and remaining close to the Bridgerton family. In this manner, the romantic tension does not shift into unsettling territory. All of these alterations demonstrate how much Netflix has altered Bridgerton from the novels while maintaining its essence. New characters like Theo have been added, the order of the love stories has been shifted, and problematic elements have been carefully removed. Sincerely, that's one reason why the show is so successful. It stays true to the core of Quinn's world, but when the material demands it, it is not afraid to make big changes. So, as fans, where does this leave us? Season 4 will bring us Benedict and Sophie's romantic fairy tale, which will be full of drama, heart, and the kind of sweeping drama that the show does best. The video for today has ended. We appreciate your viewing, and we hope to see you in the next one. To stay up to date, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want, let us know what you think about this video in the comments.